So I hadn't posted for a while, and that's because I was heavily focusing on Jedi Survivor, finishing that game, focusing on that, making that video, put a lot of effort into that, and I kind of skipped over all the Redfall stuff, right? I saw a lot of opinions out there about the game, I saw some gameplay, I was playing it in the background, but my main focus was Jedi Survivor, right? Because I knew mainly that's what was going to be the better game, and after what everybody was saying, they made me want to play this even less. But I decided that I needed to try it so we could talk about the whole Xbox is doomed controversy. So let me go ahead, and this isn't going to be a review. It'll be a real quick, probably under 2-minute synopsis of what I think of this game, alright? I didn't play it for very long, and that's because it sucks. I'm not trying to make a whole video on this because other people have said this. There's so many videos out there saying why this game sucks. And I don't need to go into it and kind of kick the game while it's down. There's some things that are cool. It's a cool idea, but it's just not enjoyable. I'm going to break it down a little bit more than that, but that's just my overall opinion on this game. So let me start out by saying that I didn't think this game was this much of a console driving game as Xbox and the community have made it out to be. I thought this was like a Back 4 Blood type of scenario, like just another Game Pass game. I didn't expect all of the hype over this, and I don't get it. Like, I don't get why there was so much build-up. Like, I've watched all the trailers. I watched the cinematic trailer. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I never thought of this as, oh, this is the next big Xbox game. No, it's just another Game Pass game. And that's exactly how it plays. It's just another Game Pass game. If you want something where you can just, like, shut your brain off, put some music on, shoot some vampires with your friends, well, there's significantly better games than this. But that's basically what this is, right? I mean, this is the equivalent of the type of game I would consider Dead Island 2, right? Comparing it to something that recently came out. Except this is free, and it's significantly worse. And it's not built to be the same thing. Dead Island 2 knows exactly what it is. It's a stupid, fun zombie game where you get stupid little abilities and guns and weapons, and you blow zombies' heads off. This tries to be way too serious and tries way too hard for what it is. So what do you actually do in Redfall? You choose your character, which essentially is boiled down to 4 separate classes with different abilities. You run around, you do little quests in their little tiny open zone type open world thing. You collect some loot, some different types of guns, better guns, you kill vampires, and you get better loot to kill better vampires, blah blah blah. Now, before this game came out, it had this big thing, oh, it's 4K 30 FPS, I'd rather have less resolution and more frames, blah blah blah, and I'm all for that, right? Like, give me the frame rate over the resolution. But this game's just ugly. It has nothing to do with if it was in 8K at 900 frames per second. The main character models look good, but the textures on especially like the ground textures, I'm a loser for stuff like that. Like in Cyberpunk, the street pissed me off when that game first came out because it looks so ugly. Well, the mud and just like the dirt in this game looks awful. I know this is such a nitpick, but I'm just trying to say things different than other people have already said. The opening is incredibly boring. This game, what they decided to do is an opening sequence to first show you into the world of the game. Is they put you through some cutscene where like they show you the big bad vampire or whatever, blah blah blah, right? They teach you how to like walk and move the camera. But then after that, they decide the immediate first thing the player is going to want to do is say, hey, this is your open world, and instead of, like most games, directing you to a hub or like a main base, a safe house where you can kind of get a vehicle, get your bearings, and learn your way around the map, they say, hey, a helicopter crashed over there on the other side of the map. Go over there and check it out. And that's just not a good way to start. You go to like a firehouse, which has like 1-2 enemies in it. It's just a very boring start to the game. Nothing happens in the first like 2 hours of this game. So it's just incredibly lackluster in the beginning, and they try to pick it up later, but you have to catch people's attention in the beginning, especially when you have a new game, right? in something like Jedi Survivor, and I'm not saying this is what Jedi Survivor did at all, but you can have a boring opening. You can have a boring first 45 minutes to an hour because there's the foundation of the first game. You know, okay, this is setting up stuff for later, and I know that gameplay that's already there is going to be there later. With this, you can't do that. And so that's just my problem with Redfall. It just doesn't look great, doesn't run great, doesn't really do anything unique or original. It just takes pretty much every zombies game ever and puts vampires in it. It's basically just a bad Dead Island 2, but it's free, right? So I had to give this a score. I'm not going to put this on, any type of list. I'm not going to put this on my spreadsheet of games that I've reviewed. But I'd give this like a 3 or a 4. Like, it's fine because it's free. But other than that, it's free. That's the only positive thing I have to say about this game. But that's that. What I really want to talk about, the whole reason I made this video, is talk about Xbox in general. So because this game did so bad, and I mean even like IGN gave it a 4, which is very low for IGN, people have been talking about just how bad Xbox has been doing recently, and they just can't seem to make a good IP compared to PlayStation. And so I've looked at some lists, and this was the most unique one that I found that has what they consider, I want to say this is Games Radar, the best Xbox exclusives. So we're going to go through here and kind of just prove that point. But I'm going to speed run through this, right? So it's 15 games. 15 is Immortality. I've literally never heard of this. So, it's on Game Pass, apparently. So, cool. It's free. So that's a point. Hi-Fi Rush. I've heard of that. But I should probably stop right there and clarify what I mean. Yes, there's some good games on this list. Hi-Fi Rush, for example. Everyone loves that game. It's going to win some awards at the end of the year, probably. But it's a difference between a good game, especially good Game Pass game, and a console seller. No one's going to compare Hi-Fi Rush to Spider-Man or God of War or Uncharted or any of those games. So just, that's the type of game I'm talking about. The old Halos. That's what I'm talking about. Something like that makes you want to actually buy an Xbox to play. I have a PlayStation 5 for God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2. For 2 games. That's it. Nothing on Xbox makes me want to do that, but let me go ahead and continue through this list just to prove that point. Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, it's fun. I played it, probably like 10 hours on it. Wouldn't buy an Xbox for it. Pentiment. Don't know what that is. It's on Game Pass. Quantum Break. Okay, Quantum Break smacks. If they made a Quantum Break 2, and I didn't have an Xbox, I would buy an Xbox for that. So, we'll give them 1 point. Halo, the Master Chief Collection. I'm not counting this, because it's just Halo 1 through 4. I think Halo 5 is on there now. But these games are already out. You already have an Xbox for this. I'm trying to prove that they haven't put out a game in a while. And these are games that came out so long ago. So yes, they're good, but you've probably already played them at this point. Ori is good. Both of them are very good games. Wouldn't buy an Xbox for them. Sunset Overdrive, way too old. Forza, very good. Forza's fun. I'm at that point. I've played enough Forza. If Forza wasn't free, probably wouldn't buy it anymore. It's a racing game. It's, you drive cars around the track. They add like 100 cars every year. I've played it a decent amount. Halo Infinite. This is their one. This is their one game that I would say, okay, this is what you buy a console for. Halo Infinite, the campaign, I'm not talking about the multiplayer and the Forge and the canceled co-op and all of that stuff. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother topic. But the campaign itself is their one game they've released in the past, 4-5 years that's worth buying a console for. Gears 5, I don't really care for Gears of War. Grounded, I think, is just a bad arc. Psychonauts 2, don't care, and Sea of Thieves, absolutely not. So you get my point, right? When was the last time Xbox put out a game that you're like, oh, I gotta get my Xbox out, right? There's people who primarily play on PlayStation, primarily play on Xbox, and primarily play on PC. There's no game on Xbox right now, or even recently, aside from Halo Infinite, when that launched, that somebody on one of those platforms booted up their Xbox to play. I stopped playing on my PC and on my Xbox to go play Spider-Man, to go play God of War, to go play Miles Morales, to go play Ghost of Tsushima. All of those games are worth stopping doing what you're on everything else and playing that. Now, I don't want to spend 10 minutes just hating on Xbox, because I like Xbox, right? I don't have a problem with Xbox. Xbox has a lot of good games. Xbox does a lot of good stuff, and I like Game Pass, right? I've made, 5 videos at this point on Game Pass, and why I like Game Pass so much. The thing with Game Pass, right? Like if Redfall, for example, was not on Game Pass, and I paid for this, the same price I paid for Jedi Survivor, I would have made a review on this, and I would have gave it a 1, right? They would have pissed me off so much. So, like, there's good sides to Game Pass, and I like Game Pass a lot. The problem is you can't rely on Game Pass, and you can't play the Game Pass card. So in, September, October, when Starfield comes out, and the game sucks, you're like, yeah, but it's free on Game Pass. It's not how this works. You can't just put out shit games and use Game Pass as your excuse for them being bad because they're free. Like I said, I'm not trying to shit on Xbox. They have decent games, and I like Game Pass a lot. I know I've said that like 14 times now, but like right now, there's nothing to play, so I'm playing Power Washing Simulator. Would I buy an Xbox for Power Washing Simulator? Absolutely not. Would I pay for Power Washing Simulator? Absolutely not. If they took it off Game Pass, would I be incredibly upset? Absolutely not. But it's something to play, and it fills those gaps. They just put like FIFA 23 on Game Pass. It fills the gaps between the big games. The problem is none of those big games are on Xbox. They're on everything, right? If I look at my list of games that we've reviewed this year, it's I didn't play Dead Space, but Dead Space, Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor. I feel like that's it. Dead Island 2, Redfall. Right? There's like 5 or 6 games that we reviewed, all of them are on everything. There's nothing that Xbox does that makes you want to buy an Xbox. And so that's where we come to Starfield. Starfield has to not suck. Right? I think even if it does suck, people are going to say it's good. Because they're just done. Right? They're tired. They want Xbox to put out something good. And if Starfield sucks, I don't know what they're gonna do. But this was just a little rant, something I wanted to talk about Redfall and Xbox and all that good stuff. If you haven't watched my Jedi Survivor video, go watch that. It's actually not bad. It's really long, so maybe get like a snack. But it's a decent video. If you like that game, if you haven't played that game, it does have spoilers, so watch out for that if you haven't played it. But it's a good time. I'm probably gonna give that game of the year at this point, unless like Assassin's Creed comes out, but it's looking like that's getting delayed. So that's really all I have to talk about. This was just a shit on Redfall video, basically. But hope you guys enjoyed this one, or at least got some entertainment out of it, because there's really nothing to enjoy in this video. This is a depressing video, so I hope you got entertained by my anger. And I'll see you guys on the next one.